Make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality to make real change in the world. This is Coach King. I think the last time we talked, we were talking about can I grow? And we're talking about development here. So the D in idea stands for development. I did a quick synopsis of the overview of development, what that entails. I hope you can go back and watch it on YouTube. It's housed on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Make Real Change. I just want you guys to go back, take a look at it, so you know, so you're not too lost. But I didn't get into too many details. Just some highlights as to what development is and what it really means to me. And my discovery is it's more about placement. It's more about the environment that you are in. You are not the seed. The seed is your intention. You're the farmer throwing intentions out into an environment where you want things to grow in your life. All of it let me clarify. All of it's you. The farmer, the seed, the intention, the ground, all of it. Okay. And in the parable of the seed and the sower, I look at development as in what the environment is that you're looking to do with your intention, your idea in your head. What's the environment of your mind? What's the environment of your heart? What's the environment of your will? What's the environment of your emotions? What's the environment of your soul? Okay. It's all encompassing. It's interchangeable. Okay. I just use those pieces as just kind of a reference, as a representation of development, so that you have a better example of to what it is. Okay. So basically, it's about your environment. You have the path, you have the rocky place, you have the thorny places, and then you have the good soil, right? And each one of those places are a place where you put your intention, which is the seed, which is the potential of whatever it is that you're intending to grow, right? And based on where that thing is placed impacts how it grows, right? It still has the potential, it still has the intentionality, and will eventually grow into something. But the longevity, the resiliency, the sustainability, all of that depends on the environment. Okay. So we're going to dive deeper into another aspect of the development today. And I would like to talk about personal development today. Okay. I got a quote from James Oppenheim. Okay. The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance. The wise grows it under his feet. Personal development is not a race. Okay. It's a revelation. It's not about chasing what is far ahead, but it's about cultivating what's already beneath you. Growth, in its truest sense, begins the moment you stop running from where you are and start planting where you stand. Again, environment. Where are you planting yourself? Every step of development begins in awareness. Awareness, an eye-opening and awakening, right? Spiritual awakening, if you're all those spiritual folks, a spiritual awakening happens. An illumination of your mind, an awareness that you never had before. A 99 awareness on Madden 2000 was Ray Lewis in the back. He had 99 awareness. He could do anything, right? Awareness of who you are, where you are, and what has been entrusted to your care. The world often tells us to chase more, to chase positions, accolades, and outcomes. But true personal development begins when we learn to cultivate the inner soil of our being. Before the harvest ever arrives, the ground must first be tilled. So we focus too much on the outcome, what we're going to get, but we never cultivate the inside of us, the inner soil, the inner being. We don't take time, and cultivation is development. Think about if you want to cultivate something, how dirty and yucky it is. It's the inner work. You got to get on your hands and knees and pull the weeds out of the flower bed. Does that make sense for all you gardeners? Cultivating a team is those long hours of conditioning, the grueling stuff that's not seen when the jerseys are on for your sports fanatics. Cultivating the inner soil is the long hours of learning policy, sitting there, understanding the employee handbook handed back, understanding the PTO policies, understanding everything that's changing within your organization, spending time and experience, grueling questions where you don't understand for all you people in the workforce. Okay. There's an extraordinary humility in realizing that you are both the gardener and the garden. You tend to the roots of your character. So your character is what grows down. Okay. Those are your values. It's rooted in values. It's rooting in who you are as a person, ultimately, right? That's your character. The soil of your mind, the water of your habits, and the sunlight of your faith. See, your faith is what God gives you, right? It's the sunlight is you don't have control over sunlight, whether it comes or whether the clouds cover it or nothing. God does, right? And the sunlight is the energy source. It's your source, which is faith. Okay. It's what you believe. Every decision, every discipline, every delay is a seed in the field of your development. Say it again. Every decision, every discipline, and every delay is a seed in the field of your development. Think of development as a divine stewardship. God has already placed something inside of you. God has already put this intention in you. It's always been there. You just haven't been aware of it yet, right? It's an untapped capacity, okay? An untapped capacity waiting to be shaped through intentional growth. Yet without cultivation, potential remains dormant. The seed remains dormant. It's never been placed anywhere, right? It just sits in the bag with the rest of the seeds of the potential intentions that you have, the ideas that you have that never go anywhere unless you do something about it, right? A seed will never fulfill its purpose sitting in the bag. It must be buried to be born. So two must be willing to go beneath the surface. So also it has to be willing to be buried. So you have to be willing to bury it. You're like, ugh. You have those ideas like, oh, I don't know if this gonna work. You got it in your hand, you're ready to do it, but you don't. Because you're not willing to put it, I don't want to quite throw this yet. It has to be able to do the unseen work that produces a visible change. Let's go to the Bible. Real quick scripture. I'm not reading scriptures like long scriptures anymore. I'm going to do little verbs. Go read Psalms 71. Okay, but Psalm 71:5 says, "For you have been my hope, sovereign Lord, my confidence since my youth." Confidence in this context is not arrogance. It's alignment. It's trust in the process of your becoming. Trust what God is getting ready to do in your life. For you have been my hopes, my sovereign Lord, the Lord above, the peaceful one, the one that has rules all things, right? My confidence since my youth, since I was a young one, since I realized that, hey, I'm here, since my conception, you have been my hope, right? That is an alignment statement. It's trusting the process of who you are becoming. We have not all arrived yet because this is about developing into what you're intending to be, right? From the womb to the workplace, from the failures to your flourishing, development is the proof of God's continual investment in you. So you should always be developing personally, right? You should always be growing personally, right? Personal development demands honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, okay? You cannot grow what you're unwilling to acknowledge. The nasty stuff, be honest about it. The feelings, be honest about it. Don't blame others. Be honest about where you are right now. Okay. You have to, in order to really, truly maximize development in your life. Okay. You cannot grow what you're unwilling to acknowledge. You cannot refine what you refuse to face. Okay. And acknowledgement is facing it. Well, not necessarily. Acknowledging it is acknowledging it. Facing it is really trying to deal with this thing. That means you're speaking, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not good for me. You're trying to reframe those thoughts of acknowledgement. What you acknowledge, you have to reframe, and that's refining once you face it. Growth is uncomfortable because it exposes what has been neglected. Being exposed is not, it's not a fun place. People, when you're going through development, you're like, ooh, this is not fun because you feel exposed. You feel like your business is in the wind. You feel like people are talking about your back. God forbid you're not on drugs. I can imagine going through a development period and having to deal with a drug addiction or something. You know what I mean? The paranoia of it all, right? Always paranoid, the anger, the emotional highs and lows, right? If you are trying to kick a habit or an addiction or something like that, and it requires personal development, that's what that is. That paranoia that happens is because you feel exposed, because now you're working and addressing the issue itself. And that issue has had a stronghold on your life for so long that you are embarrassed, right? You're shamed. But remember, exposure is not punishment. It's preparation. If you take that and you harness the shame and say, no, the shame is something that's preparing me for something later. Reframe it. Because when you choose to grow, you invite the true change or the transformation into your life. You invite God in. That's true repentance. You invite God in to prune, to refine, and renew you. The pruning may hurt. The cutting. No one wants to be cut. No one wants to be whacked on. You know what I mean? No one wants to be hacked, use a saw and just cut that stuff out of you, but it hurts. However, you cut it so that the fruit will prove the purpose of it. You have to get away the dead things in your life. You have to prune that stuff away from you. You have to get the dead things, the things that no longer serve you, things that no longer serve your purpose, in order for your fruit to understand its purpose, for your fruit to be fruitful, right? Because that's what God commanded us, to be fruitful and multiply, to replenish, right? We can't do that with dead stuff. We can't replenish anything with anything dead around it. If you ever look at a sack of potatoes and you put a dead potato in a sack, it's just more rotten potatoes. You put fruit in there with one that's rotten, it spoils everything. That's a principle, okay? Read the word. This process is not passive. You must engage in your own development or evolution, the change of state. It's an evolution to you, but it's development to God, because God knows all. Evolution, you may not understand what's happening to you. You just end up there, right? You're like, oh, I evolved, right? But God's like, no, I'm developing you, okay? That means asking yourself the hard questions. Here's some hard questions that you want to ask yourself during personal development. It may not be hard for some people, but they can be thought-provoking, okay? Who do I want in my personal environment? This is about the people you need around you. You really have to take inventory. When you go to any leadership or career development, they talk about your board of directors. These are the people that you keep close because they're pushing you to where you want to go. These are the people that have been there. They've established things. You understand who they are in your life. Okay. And you have a board of directors that you can call, and they've given you access to call them. They're not just friends. They're important personal people that are in your environment. Okay. And you have to decide who they are. Okay. The next question is, what do I want this environment to nurture? So yeah, you think personal development is about you developing, but you also develop other things, right? So what are you nurturing? So what environment are you creating for either somebody else's potential, right? For them to grow? Because nurturing is providing the water, the soil, you know what I mean, in somebody else's life, right? Like, what do I want this environment to nurture? Also, what specifically in my personal development do I want this environment to feed? What skill set do I need to develop, right? In this environment, what can I learn from a group of millionaires? Well, first of all, in this environment, I want to learn how to make a million. Okay. In this environment, I want to learn how to make a billion. In this environment, I want to learn how to cook. I'm not a very good chef, but I'm in this room full of women who make amazing meals. Why wouldn't I talk about recipes? Because in that environment, they all know what they're doing. They could cook. I need a pie recipe or something. I want to bake pie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just have to rely on someone else. I want to be able to develop the skill set to know, so that I can at least duplicate this amazing pie that just showed up in my life. You know what I mean? Next one is, where can I create space that supports my calling? Where can I create space that supports my calling? Where can I create space that supports my calling? That is the placement piece that is big enough to handle your ministry, to handle the service, to handle the thing that you are intending to. After the fruit and the tree has been planted, the fruit is out. Where can you create that space? What does that space look like? Where's your home? Where is that? It could be a city. Does it? It may not be Omaha. It may be. I need to go to Florida. Or even if it isn't Omaha, it may not be in Papillion. It may be over in North Omaha. That's where the space is, right? I need to go there because I know there that supports my calling, right? These people need what I have, okay? I might need to go to Lincoln. I might need to. You have to know where, okay? When will I stop waiting for the right time and start creating it? Like, oftentimes we wait for the stars to align. We need signs, miracles, and wonders. We know how God really feels about that, right? If God gave you a purpose, he expects you to work diligently towards that purpose, right? Or that calling. If he gives you an assignment, he expects you to work diligently to that assignment. You can't wait for the stars to align. There's more wealth in the graveyard because they sat around waiting for the perfect timing. And it may not always happen. The right time, the perfect timing. Yes, there's a timing for everything. But when you have an assignment, work diligently towards it. Okay? Because a little folding of hands, a little closing of eyes, and poverty will come upon you quickly. Okay? And poverty may not be monetary, but it may be mental poverties, right? Lacking of some sort will come quickly when you fold your hands instead of working diligently on said assignment. The poverty mindset will happen. I don't have time to do that. We'll create time to do it. Carve out a plan to do it. You can set it aside and even say, on this day, I'm going to do this. This morning, it's time. I'm going to do this today. I'm no longer going to wait. I'm going to do this right now. Why is this environment, next question, why is this environment essential to my purpose? Why is this environment essential to my purpose? Why is Omaha essential to my purpose? Why am I developing more than I ever have when I come to a place that I refuse to go to? Why? Find meaning in the environment itself, where God has placed you, where you have intentionally placed yourself. Find meaning in it, because it is essential to your purpose. And if it isn't, you need to find that environment that is. And you'll know it when you see it. Okay. These questions form a blueprint of your growth. Okay. Each answer leads you closer to the person you're becoming. So if you answer that, you'll be able to see exactly who you're becoming. Well, I wouldn't say exactly. It leads you towards it. Okay. It leads you toward it. You're getting closer. Okay. Investing in yourself is not selfish. Okay. It's stewardship. It's part of the stewardship of your life. Right. And if you mismanage this piece of it, you will never invest in yourself. You invest in everybody else but you. You cannot pour into others from an empty vessel. Once the water is out of the bucket, you need to fill it back up. If you don't have a flowing stream, you can't keep pouring into people. Okay? You can't do it. You can't pour water from an empty bucket. Development is what fills the vessel with wisdom, humility, and discernment. It sharpens your instincts and expands your capacity. So, you have to develop. You develop the wisdom, the knowledge, and the applied experience, right? The applied knowledge and the experience that you have is the wisdom that you gain. So you get that. Humility. Humility is not humbling yourself. It's humility. It's just saying, okay, I am in a place where I don't know this. So because I don't know this, I'm going to submit myself to someone who does. And I'm going to follow what they're saying. If they give me advice and it's wise, I'm gonna adhere to it. I'm gonna listen to it. And then discernment is the ability to judge what's right and wrong for yourself. Right? That's good for me. I need that. That's good. That's the direction I'm going. Ooh, buddy, get away. Stay away. I'm running from you. Okay? That's not for me. What you're doing is not for me. Okay? It sharpens your instincts. So the instincts that God gave you, development will sharpen that. And that's why you need a person, because iron sharpens iron. So your developmental person will sharpen you, right? And it will expand your capacity to do what? Your capacity in general. Your vessel grows. That's what development is for, is to expand the capacity that you have, right? From the current capacity. So the volume of your container gets bigger, right? It expands the tents, right? It stretches you, okay? When you invest in yourself, you also invest in every life you will touch. And that is future tense. The people of God in the kingdom are looking for you to invest in yourself, because when you do that, you could be the very vessel that unlocks their future for them. You can help them shape and see what God is preparing for them, right? So that they can go through the same developmental process. So every team that you will lead and every dream that you will build is also depending on you investing in yourself. Leaders who fail to develop themselves become caretakers of chaos and rather than the cultivators of change, right? Those who commit to a journey of self-improvement become architects of alignment, leaders who have vision, values, and a voice that moves in rhythm. So when you're an architect of change, you have vision, values, and a voice that's aligned. This is where growth becomes holy. Holy. Holiness is one whole, right? We're not necessarily talking about pure, but we are. A pure thing is a whole thing. You like a purebred animal, right? Holiness is the same thing. You become whole. Your growth is total. There's nothing, no pieces missing, no cracks, no crevices. It is smooth, it is round, it's spherical, it's awesome, right? It's whole. Okay. Personal development is not just professional refinement. Okay. It is spiritual obedience. It's saying, Lord, make me better before you make me bigger. Say that again. Lord, make me better before you make me bigger, because I got to be better before I get bigger. Because if I'm bigger before I get better, then it's chaotic, right? I can't handle what's happening. I can't handle the people that you're bringing to me. I miss them. I mismanage them. I don't know how to respond. I don't have a well to draw from. I have no wisdom in this because I didn't spend the time personally developing myself. I didn't invest in my own development, so I have nothing to draw from. I don't have a response. So plant the seed of discipline in your life. You have to discipline yourself because development is intentional, right? Remember, we're planting ourselves in environments that will nourish us, right? We're putting ourselves in environments that we can grow in, right? Can I grow? So you have to discipline yourself. You have to discipline we see as a bad thing. No. What do you call a degree? A major. It's a discipline because you're learning something that you will eventually be an expert in, and the university endorses that. They said, oh yeah, they paid the dues, they paid the cost, they went through their ringer. The teachers approved of their words, approved of their work, right? And because they graduated from this university, they now have this discipline in their life. Health Service Administration. They are now doctors. They have a discipline of medical doctoralship, right? That's the same thing. There's no difference. So when you plant the seed of discipline in your life, you become the expert, and therefore you have the credibility for the people that you were called to impact, right? The people that you're called to help. And that's the real change of it all, is the discipline itself is so key and it's important, and we run from it, but we shouldn't. That should be the anchoring of our lives. So water it with consistency. Expose it to the sunlight of your faith and protect it from the weeds of doubt. So doubt's going to come with faith. You can believe all you want, but you also will doubt. They come hand in hand, okay? And watch how God makes it grow. You have to protect it from the weeds of doubt, which means pull up the doubt. It's going to be there, right? It all grows together. So pull it up. The wheat from the tare. It's going to happen, but protect it by pulling up the weeds, right? Acknowledgement. That's the awareness piece. A lot of that doubt for me has been what I have to be aware of. What am I doubting? What am I doubting in my life? And face it. Face the doubts, man. Face the doubts, Mike. Face them. But you got to watch how God is growing this thing in your life. So personal development is the genesis of all other forms of development, okay? Which I'm not going to get into this video, but social, economic, and technological, because how you grow within will determine what you grow without. How you grow within will determine what you grow without. The next step then is learning how the inner development connects to the environments we influence. Growth within becomes growth among, where your personal roots extend into your community, which shapes how we uplift one another. And also, as we close, we transition from who we're becoming to how we grow together, okay? And this is a deeper exploration into social development, where personal growth finds purpose in people, and progress is measured not by what we gain, but by what we give. So the next developmental piece is social development. All right, this is Coach King. Make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality. Make real change in the world. Peace out.